Well, hello and welcome to SoCal Prep Report. Hoops! It's all about prep basketball. We're going to talk Cleveland Cavalier basketball in the LA City section. Dagem Asfaw, their second-year head coach, is with us. They have a good chance to get into the Open division. He's bringing his point guard, Kamari along for the ride. We're going to talk a lot of high school basketball tonight, and I know you where you were last week. I know you love high school hoops.
I am just relishing in it right now.
Sierra Canyon, Harvard Westlake.
Great
We were
game.
both there last week.
Yes?
Great game. Sierra Canyon goes on an 18-0 run late to pull it out.
It's funny. I've been covering high schools for almost a decade now. I don't know if I've seen in a competitive game, of course I've seen some blowouts in the day, right? But I don't know if I've seen two heavyweights go at it and an 18-0 run ensue, especially in the fourth quarter. So Sierra Canyon goes and gets Harvard Westlake. It was a rough week for Harvard Westlake. Just to recap, they're in Massachusetts last Monday. Then they come and play Notre Dame. They lose. Then they have to travel to Chatsworth, and they lose to Sierra Canyon. So rough week for the Wolverines.
Justin Pippen impressed me. I saw him last year. He didn't impress me, but he may be the most improved player in Southern California, #1 in white.
No question. I mean, last year I would argue maybe like the 7th or 8th guy off the bench, kind of a long-bodied shooter, and that's about it. You know, really a role player and the epitome of one. But now he is basically their go-to scorer and playmaker. He had 24 points, 21 of them coming in the second half of this game.
6 threes. #4 there for Harvard Westlake in the dark uniforms. Nick Hymenia can really shoot the pill.
Well, when I was at the Hoop Hall Classic, national scouts and pundits were really raving about him because he was going toe-to-toe with the top recruit named Ace Bailey, who's a senior and like a 5-star recruit and stuff like that. So Hymenia is only a junior, and sky's the limit. He's got like Gonzaga and UCLA on him, and that's Robert Hinton from Harvard, who's also a very good player. Hymenia, again, look at who this is. That's Christian Ori, Robert Ori's son.
Yeah, he had some big shots in the game. Not quite enough. Keep in mind, when they go on the 18-0 run, Sierra Canyon, they were down 8 in the fourth quarter when they went on that run.
That's right. You're right. It was 58-50. And next thing you know, we look up, it's 68-58. So this was the go-ahead bucket there from Bryce Colefield and one. And again, Sierra Canyon has a chance to be the #1 team on Friday when they host Notre Dame.
Great win for Andre Chevalier and company. And again, big game again tomorrow night for the Trailblazers. St. John Bosco over J. Sarah. Interesting game here. Bosco very solid at the beginning of the year. Maybe the #1 team going in. They knock off J. Sarah. But then J. Sarah comes back and rebounds with arguably the biggest win in school history over Mater Dei, 68-62. Aiden Fowler, 36 points, pulling it out for the Lions, who were down 10 at halftime.
Correct. This was a result from Wednesday night, last night, and there was so much drama. Sierra Canyon was on the ropes against Alamany. Crespi had Notre Dame and Sherman Oaks on the ropes. Birmingham got knocked off in the city section. I mean, there were so many of these games. It was just kind of this droopy Wednesday evening, and some teams went down, including Mater Dei. So they're no longer the #1 team, at least in my eyes.
Wait a minute. We got your poll coming up in a little
I know.
bit
Well,
here.
you know,
have them
every
#1.
Sunday, you got to let the games get played.
All right, got to put a Laces score up only because this young man, Ian Hunter, knocked down 9 triples for the Unicorns, 61-48. 9 threes, the most in Laces history.
Yeah, that's awesome. Never mad at a school record. And, of course, Laces, a team that at the beginning of the year, because of Donovan Cornelius, we all thought, wait a minute, could this be an Open Division team? But they've got some rough losses. I don't think they'll be an Open Division team. Maybe a Division I contender instead.
Here's a bounce-back story. Palisades was horrible at the beginning of the year. Now they knock off Venice last night, 52-51. These are 2 potential Open Division teams. That's just a great win for the Dolphins, who've won 9 out of 10.
The story surrounding Palisades is quite interesting. They had 9 transfers come in. It all got blown up. Basically, all of them left. 1 stuck around, and they got rid of their coach. An interim coach came in. So just chaos and bedlam all surrounding the team. And here they are trying to find a way. And you know what? Hey, maybe they win a couple more games, and maybe they do get into the Open.
No bedlam for Cleveland. The Cavaliers, and they're going to be our guests, they're winning games every night. They won another game here tonight. This isn't the one from tonight. This is their big win over Chatsworth 83-77, which really gets them into the West Valley League race.
Yeah, there's no question. They are, I believe, 4-1 in league play. That's tied for first place after Birmingham lost last night to Chatsworth, whom Cleveland beat. So it makes the victory over Chatsworth that much better. They got good players. They shoot well. They got a young, energetic coach. Things are really going in the right direction for the Cavaliers. And dare I say, hey, maybe a little program history. They've never been in the Open Division before.
Yeah, but they've had a history on their side. They've had
Correct.
some great players there. Nick Young, Andre Chevalier. And now they have great players. Kamari King, their point guard. He's joining us now at the head coach. I love Dagem. Great guy. I saw him. I met him at a football game. Dagem Asfaw. He's the public address announcer for Cleveland. We were doing a football game there for LA 36, and he was a good guy. Pretty good PA announcer, too. Guys, welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
Well, congratulations. I know you won another game earlier today over Northridge Academy. All right, Dagem, tell us about this team. Before we went on the air, you said you're different from the beginning of the year to now. Why are you a contender in the city section and you weren't early in the season?
Well, the season started. We had a lot of guys sitting out due to transfers. December 22nd hit, and we went rolling into Damien tournament and didn't know what to expect. But with the guys we had cleared and ready to go, we made a magical run at the Damien tournament, and that just sparked our season.
Kamari, you're a junior point guard. I've seen you play quite a few times. You can score, you can pass, you can do a little bit of everything. But what part of your game are you most confident in?
I would say my passing, because I feel like I can find guys in tight spots and I can get the ball up pretty fast in certain situations.
When you played Gilbert Arenas' son, Elijah Arenas, on Monday on the road, Chatsworth, is there an element that you have to kind of tell your team, hey guys, he's just like us. We gotta just play this game. Talk about what it was like. There's cameras lining up on the baseline, stuff like that. There's a little more pizzazz to the game. How are you able to keep your composure?
I just want to be myself on the court, like stay within my game and not do anything I don't work on, or really just stay within myself, within my abilities, and keep my guys under composure in like certain situations in the game.
Let's learn about Dagem. I like the guys, and we're going to learn about them. You've been around a lot of good coaches. Tell everyone out there watching the program tonight some of the coaches that you've worked under.
Yeah, I was blessed to start my coaching career at Harvard Westlake, and fabulous coach Dave Rubio, who runs an amazing program and very organized, and I learned a lot in that program. And once I moved on, I went to coached at Alamany with Trey Meeks, who had many successful teams at Alamany, and then I was blessed right after Alamany to coach a year at Cal Lutheran with Coach Russell White. So I've been under a lot of great coaches, and I've learned a lot from every single one of them, and they've made an impact in my coaching now. And also my head coach when I was in high school, Osiris Knowles, and that's where I get a lot of my basketball knowledge from, is Osiris Knowles as well.
Kamari, you're a junior point guard. You're obviously a talented kid. How difficult was it for the rest of your guys, maybe some of the older guys, to trust you, a younger player?
I would say maybe coming from. Can you ask your question again?
Being trusted by the players, because you're the general, you're the floor leader. The trust factor. Did the guys buy into who you were delivering the basketball to them?
It was just a confidence thing. Like, I had to be more confident in what I was saying and make sure guys knew that. That's really the first part of the battle, is just being confident in what you're saying and trusting what you're saying to your teammates and making sure they feel that within themselves.
Dagem, my last question for you is about the journey this team is on and where you're likely headed. You take care of business, it's very likely you will be in the Open Division. It's circling. I've written about it. People are talking about it. Is there a challenge with trying to keep that news from your team a little bit because maybe they're feeling themselves a little? Or are you confident this team is going to be able to stay focused and handle business.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the outside noise is growing and growing, and the tension's on us. But at the end of the day, the way we look at these games is we have Taft on Friday, and right after that is Granada. But we take every game one game at a time, and when that road comes and when we're at that moment, we're gonna show out and see what we're about. But really, it's tournament style, and it's one game at a time, and we got to worry about the opponent in front of us and can't look ahead too much.
Dagem, I guess you got to have the philosophy, why not you? It's wide open.
Correct.
There are no great teams in the LA City section. You got to believe your chances are as good as anyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be honest with you, I think there are some fabulous teams in the city section, and I think the city section is getting better and better. I know people say that the talent level is dropping, but the competition is fierce, and there's some really good coaches in the city section. But it is an open year, and I believe anybody can win it. It's really about who's more organized and has their team locked in to get the job done basically.
Kamari, when people walk into the gym and watch you play, what do they see? What kind of player are you? What do you do best?
I'm a team player. I want to get my guys involved before I try to go get my own. Just good basketball in general.
Well, you're a good kid, and we're glad you're going to be there for another year or so, and you got a good coach in Dagem. We wish you guys the best of luck. Congratulations. You're up to 15 wins on the year. You got as good a chance as anyone to make the Open Division. Best of luck the rest of the way in the West Valley and going forward into the tournament.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
All right, there's the Cleveland Cavaliers, an upcoming team, a dangerous team in the LA City section.
Yeah, no question. I've seen them play 2 or 3 times now at the Damien Classic, as Dagem alluded to. I saw them against Chatsworth on Monday. They move the ball well. They take instruction well. They play hard. They defend. Really, really impressed. They played well against the man. They played well against the zone. I mean, they've got everything you need to contend. They possess.
All right, here are some of the teams that we think. I wrote these down. I got to be honest. But Tark, I think, agrees with me. I think these are the teams that are in contention for the Open Division in the LA City section. And we could be omitting a team here. I like the way Palisades has come on. Venice is still a very solid team. Westchester has a good record. They're 15-4 the last time I checked. They have history on their side. I know Birmingham lost last night. King Drew's talented. Gardina's got a great record. Grant's been a championship team at a lower level, playing well, and then we got Cleveland.
I think the 4 teams I could almost guarantee are going to be in are Grant. I can pretty much guarantee 5 teams. I think it's going to be Grant, Cleveland, Chatsworth, Birmingham, and King Drew. Those are the 5 that are going to, I think, get in.
But you need 3 more.
I understand. I'm just guaranteeing 5. Then there might be another 5 or 6 teams for those 3 other spots. Similar to like what we're seeing in the southern section. We may get to that later in the show. But it's you're talking 10 or 11 teams for 8 spots, and I think that's fair to say.
I think it's going to be tough to keep Gardena out if they win in the Marine League because they have such a great record. They've won so many games. With that kind of record, I just got to think they got to go into the Open.
You've got those bigger leagues like the Western League, Marine League, West. And so generally, on a good year, you'll get 2 or 3 teams out of that league. This year, I don't think that's going to happen. So at least one, maybe the league champion, and you could be right.
Yeah, another team is Garfield, but again, historically, the Northern League has not done as well, but they have a nice record. All right, moving forward, we got to check out Tark's top 10, and he is responsible for these top groups of teams.
These are made every Sunday.
Okay, I know that. You have
yeah.
to clarify that because each week you have a number 1 team that when we post it has already lost.
Yeah.
There's Mater Dei, Notre Dame, Sierra Canyon, Harvard Westlake, and Corona Centennial. And the second 5 of Roosevelt, St. John Bosco, St. Pius, Windward, and J. Sarah.
Right. So obviously J. Sarah knocked off Mater Dei. Mater Dei is going to drop. You know, listen, what an opportunity for Notre Dame or Sierra Canyon.
So does the winner of tomorrow night's game, Notre Dame, Sierra Canyon, go to number 1?
No question. I mean, just looking at where they're sitting in those rankings, they will go up to number 1. Mater Dei will probably drop down to like 3 or 4. Everyone will move up after that. I do think that those top 8 teams, not in any particular order, I guess that wouldn't be a horrible order. However, those top 8 teams, to me, are the open is the Open Division field.
Okay, let me argue a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Here.
Yeah.
J. Sarah, Aiden Fowler having a phenomenal year, the 36 in the win over Mater Dei. Windward has Gavin Hightower, terrific guard. We both saw when he was a freshman. He's been doing it for years. DJ Gay is a tremendous young coach at Windward. Those two teams are right there as far as I'm
No
concerned.
question. They are knocking on the door. If Jay Sarah would have lost last night, they would have been dead in the water. But the win, in my opinion, just simply puts them in the conversation. Jay Sarah has a big game on Saturday against St. Augustine from San Diego in the Nike Extravaganza. Maybe that puts them in. I don't know. But if they're so teetering on the edge, Randy, they just simply can't afford to lose. They could play the Lakers, and if they lose, they're out. You know, they just can't afford another loss, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think the Lakers could slow them down. Lakers defense
he
a
wouldn't be
little
able,
iffy.
He wouldn't be able to slow down Aiden Fowler.
Yeah,
that's
it'd be a
for sure.
high-scoring game. Now, you said Aiden Fowler is your favorite player in high school basketball.
Oh man,
Why?
You know, this is. I don't say this about. I've said this about a couple players in the past, but I don't really bring this saying out much. I always say he's your favorite player's favorite player because everyone, you watch him play for one quarter, he does everything right. He takes charges, he makes the extra pass, he drives and kicks, he elevates on his jump shot. I mean, he's such a solid player, and I think there's a little bit of rooting for him because he's got to be 5'8", 5'9". He can't be that 5'10" on a good day, and so he's just small and tough. And he's very easy to root for. So I have no problem saying he is my favorite player. I don't know if him and Sebastian Rancic are enough to get into the Open. We'll
Rancic's
see.
a big kid who
very
can play.
good player, going to Colorado.
Yeah, he can play.
Bona fide guy, but they just have the two guys. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. They could very well get in. I have no decision on the matter. It's up to the committee. We'll see.
And they won with C.J. Cooper, their assistant coach, running the show. Keith Wilkinson still suspended, will be back soon. So give them credit. They're playing with an assistant coach at the head.
Sure.
And they're still winning. All right. There are three teams I'm going to bring up, whereas really I call this upside down. Let's start with Bishop Montgomery. This is hard to believe. Doug Mitchell's a legendary coach there. Look at their record in the Del Rey League. You got Fairfax, who historically is the team in the city section. Taft was one of the other potent squads.
Defending
in the LA
Open
City section.
champion.
Winners from last year. You're right.
Yep.
They won the Open Division title just a year ago. Jonathan Wills out of Fresno State, good player there, saw him play, coaching the team, great guy.
Yep.
He told me early on he's going to struggle this year. I don't know that he believed he'd be 3-19. But if you look at those marks, that's stunning.
Well, here's what I'll tell you about those three programs is those three coaches are really, really good coaches. Hartwell, Mitchell, and Wills, they're all doing it the right way. Doug Mitchell, who will always forever be known, I don't know what year it is. I want to say it was either 2017 or 18. But Bishop Montgomery won the Open Division Championship, and no one expected them to do it. They beat Mater Dei, they beat Sierra Canyon and Marvin Bagley. That's when Mater Dei had Bowl, the whole nine. No one expected him to do it, and Doug Mitchell, I always call him the mad scientist, he was able to get that done. So Jonathan Wills, I've had multiple other coaches tell me they're not very talented, but he's doing a great job. He's coaching them up, he's encouraging them, and that's a good sign.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And again, he was a player who I saw play at Fresno State. Very good player. So, you know, he can instruct. He's young enough to relate to the players. I think he's a pretty good guy. I think he'll turn it around. All right, some key games coming up this weekend. We got to start with where Tark's going to be tomorrow night. Notre Dame at Sierra Canyon in Chatsworth. Two teams with great records. Notre Dame's 24-0. Sierra Canyon's only lost one game.
This is either 22-1 or 23-1.
They're 23-1. I kind of like Sierra Canyon at home. Notre Dame might be in a position where they're playing a lot of games and
sure.
They're on the road. I just got to think after a tough Crespi game, it's a tough game for Notre Dame to play. Although they might have been looking ahead, but I got to like Sierra Canyon at home.
Yes, Sierra Canyon didn't exactly have an easy. They were losing. I believe in the third. They might have had a small deficit in the fourth quarter against Alamany last night. So both teams might have been looking ahead or just distracted and losing focus. So both will be alert for that Friday night game, that's for sure. And that is going to be on ESPNU at 8 o'clock. So it's a primetime game, the whole nine, Mercy Miller, Pippen, Bryce James. I don't know if the Lakers are playing, but if they're not and they're in town,
the
like
Lakers
a day
are playing
off.
Tonight.
Then if they're not on the road, then of course there'll be more of a buzz because LeBron will be in the gym.
There'll be a bigger buzz. You know why?
Here
Will
we
Mookie
go.
Betts be in the gym?
You love
Mookie
that.
Betts was there a week ago.
He was, yeah. And honestly, it was like Mookie Betts, as a perennial superstar that he is, because of his stature, he totally blends in like a normal guy. He can't be 6 feet tall. He's got to be 5'10".
Well, I
5'9".
didn't think basketball when he walked into the
Well,
gym.
I'm just saying, that's a guy that can just look like any other guy. It's just the truth. But of course, it's Mookie Betts. Everyone recognizes him. But it's not like, Anthony Davis walks in. It's like, okay, who is that guy?
He has kids at Sarah Kane.
Correct. If I'm not mistaken, he's got a kid or kids in the lower school.
Yeah. Okay. So let's turn our attention back to basketball. We do love Mookie Betts. Why not? All right. The Nike Extravaganza is one of the key tournaments this weekend. But before we get to that, I do want to talk about St. John Bosco out of that same Trinity League against Santa Margarita. This is a dangerous game for Bosco.
Yeah, I wrote an article earlier in the year after St. John Bosco lost by 21 points to Mater Dei, just talking about some of their offensive struggles. Coach Matt Dunn's a really good coach, but they're so talented, it's almost like there's too many cooks in the kitchen. So he's having an Andre Chevalier type year where it's like talented guys for a mile long and trying to get them to play within each other, because when you watch them play, they kind of have what's called like a my turn attitude, Randy. So you come down, you shoot a three, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Now it's my turn. And it's hard to play basketball that way. So maybe they're tuning it out, maybe they're fine-tuning it, but it makes them vulnerable, which is why you think that game could be dangerous.
I do think it's a dangerous game. I think they'll win it, but I think it'll be close for a while. Nike Extravaganza, a lot of great teams there. It's hosted by Mater Dei. I'm looking at Mater Dei and Los Alamitos. That's going to be a good game. You see Notre Dame, Bishop Gorman. There's the Los Alamitos game. Harvard Westlake against Foothill, who will be competitive. Harvard Westlake should win. Roosevelt against Henderson of Nevada. That's a dangerous game.
Correct. I don't see that many big-time games on the slate this year. I'm just being completely honest.
It's still good prep basketball.
It is. But I'm looking at that slate. Usually, it's heavy hitters playing before the playoffs roll around. Not saying any of those games aren't good. I think the game of the day wasn't even on there. It's St. Augustine and J. Sarah, because of what it could imply for a team like J. Sarah. It makes it more interesting.
Yeah, that's true. That it's another game. There's more games there. We just threw up 4 of them. You're right about J. Sarah, because of the position
Correct.
they're in. They need W's. Let's turn our attention a little bit to football, then we'll get back to basketball. Peyton Waters, the great player from Birmingham, committed to the University of Washington. Well, the coach left. DeBoer went to Alabama. So Peyton Waters, before he steps on campus at Washington, we're going to see some highlights from the Gridiron Classic, where Waters was terrific on offense and defense, where he was catching the ball first score. Now he's in the portal. We don't know where he's going to go.
Yeah, you know what? Gosh, it's going to be interesting to he's a Swiss Army knife, Randy. He can play defense. He can play wide receiver. He's just a great athlete. So I don't know. He's going to be recruited as a wide receiver primarily. That would be my guess. But you just never know. During the recruiting process, maybe there's another coach that really likes him at DB. And now here's a chance to really pitch that and go, hey, man, our DB just hit the portal. Now you're available. You know what? If you play DB, you can start for us as a freshman. Okay, I'll sign with you. So we don't know where he's going to sign. It's all about fit.
Speaking of fit, Thomas Randolph, don't know anything about him. I know he's an assistant coach at Taft. He takes over for Fred Emerson in Woodland Hills. That's a program that's juggled a lot of coaches in recent years.
Well, there's been a huge transition at Taft administratively. I mean, the AD's no longer the same guy. Mark Drucker, the assistant principal in charge of athletics, was Neezer McNabb. She's not there anymore. Derek Taylor, longtime legendary basketball coach, he's not there anymore. So things are changing over there. I don't know if that had anything to do with Emerson being told no thank you and you're no longer our football coach. But as a reporter, reporting in the Valley for the last decade, I'll say it probably did. So we'll see what the new coach has to offer the Toreadors. And the bigger question, unfortunately, is how long will he stay there?
All right, there's a new coach for the Carolina Panthers. And you're going, Randy, this is a prep show. Why are we talking about David Canales being hired? Well, he started out as a player at Carson High School in the Marine League, was an offensive coordinator there, and I want to say 04, 05, around there. Later coached at SC, went with the coach up to Seattle.
Pete Carroll.
And had great success there. Went to Tampa, was their OC this year. Now he's hired by the Panthers.
Yeah, it's a great story. Of course, I think anytime you see a SoCal product per se go and do something special, I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised by the hire. Not to say that he's not capable or competent and all that stuff, but I'm seeing a trend in the NFL, Randy. Antonio Pierce just got hired, former player. Dan Campbell's got the Lions turned around, former player. I think about a half a dozen years ago, we saw guys like Sean McVay, these kind of young, new age guys get hired. Then everyone went young with their hires. Some worked out. Brandon Staley didn't work out. Mike McDaniels is working out. But now we're seeing some of these former players get jobs, and it's working. So I'm a little surprised that maybe other other franchises aren't trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, I think they want young guys who can relate to the players because even though they're pros, they're still young players. I do like the Canales hire. I think he'll do a nice job for the Panthers, and he gets to perform with Bryce Young from Modern Day, his quarterback. So a real Southern California connection there with the head coach of Carolina and the quarterback. Let's go back to basketball because we want to end the show making Tarek happy, and that's why we're here. McDonald's All-Americans came out. We'll start with the ladies. McKinley Randolph, a walking double-double at Sierra Canyon. She's going to be in the McDonald's All-American game. She's got it, by the way, down to 3 schools, she told me. Louisville, Notre Dame, and Michigan State, where her dad, Zach, was a star. So McKinley Randolph and Kennedy Smith from Etiwanda, who's going to USC. Carter Bryant of Centennial on the guys' side, who's headed to Arizona. And Trent Perry of Harvard Westlake, USC. Congratulations to those 4 individuals, McDonald's All-Americans.
Yeah, I think Trent Perry was a little bit of a surprise. Carter Bryant, we all expected because he's so highly touted and ranked. I gotta say it. The biggest snub was Mercy Miller. And not only that he didn't make the McDonald's All-American game, he's not even in Paul Biancardi's top 100, which is criminal. It's hard to think of 80 more kids, 70 kids out here playing high school basketball that are better than Mercy Miller, a guy that poured in 68 points in a high school game. So I think it's a travesty that he's not getting the pub he deserves, but he's getting it from me and, of course, SB Live. He's getting it from SB Live.
He's getting it from SB Live. I didn't mention that you're from SB Live. I think I just said we're with Tarek today.
It's okay.
No,
it's all right.
SB Live. I got to mention it. I guess they don't like Notre Dame because last year
Caleb
Foster got
total
snubbed. He's now at Duke.
Total snub. I don't get it. And there's powers that be and there's politics involved. The McDonald's All-American is one thing, but for Mercy Miller not to be in the top 100 is a joke. And he's going to Houston. The kid can play. Randy, you and I could play in a Pee Wee basketball league game. We would not score 68 points. I'm telling you that right now. So for him to do it in 32 minutes, he actually played 29 of the 32 minutes against Oakwood and scored 68 points. That is so difficult to do. I think he only made like 2 or 3 threes.
I will guarantee you in a couple of years, Elijah Arenas, will be a McDonald's All-American because he's got the name. He's a great player, too.
Well, he's a 5-star guy.
The name value is going to help.
The name, but you'd think, okay, you're saying that it didn't help Mercy Miller.
Well, his dad's well-known.
I'm just saying, the name, though, it's one thing for a kid to get overlooked because he doesn't get a lot of attention, but because of the name and, it's Master P's son. And by the way, Victorious Miller's in the top 100. He's related to Mercer. It's just weird that he got completely overlooked. I'm not buying it.
Last shout out of the night goes to Kalina Smith, Ontario Christian, young lady, tremendous basketball player, just a freshman. She's averaging 35 and a half a game. Let that sink in. 35 and a half per outing.
You put her in a Pee Wee game, she's going for 100.
She might.
Yeah, she's a terrific player. Have not had the chance to see her play in person. I want to say Ontario Christian is likely to be an open division girls basketball team. Yeah, they're probably right there, if not a top seed in Division I, and I'm sure over time as she grows, because she's only a freshman, they will be in open division contention. I'm almost positive Ontario Christian was in the open division last year.
She could be, by the end of her prep career, the greatest scorer in CIF Southern Section history.
Yeah, I think it's very likely, and yeah, I don't doubt it. She would have to keep this up. Hopefully she doesn't transfer it away to some out-of-state school.
Yeah, as long as she stays in the section,
Correct.
she could break a record.
Yep.
But I think she's going to stay there because she wants to break the school record as well. So tomorrow night, Sierra Canyon is going to be where you're housed.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game, and my gut is telling me that Notre Dame's going to win.
My gut tells me Notre Dame's going to win too. No, it isn't.
Yeah,
No,
I think earlier you said Sierra
I'm
Canyon.
going with Sierra.
Yeah.
I'm just repeating what you said.
Okay,
You had
yeah.
me convinced for about 15 seconds, and that's it. No, I do not think Notre Dame's
Okay,
gonna
you
win
like
tomorrow.
Sierra Canyon tomorrow night. Very well could happen. Very good team, deep, good players, the whole nine. Wouldn't surprise me.
And two coaches who could be in the running for Coach of the Year, Matt Sargent
Yep.
at Notre Dame, Andre Chevalier, who's done a fabulous job this year after Bronny James and some other seniors left, Matoyer and Alada Kuhn. A lot of people didn't have Sierra Canyon at this level, but he's got him at that level. And Justin Pippen's a large reason. But congratulations to Andre and Matt, who've done great jobs with their teams, and they collide tomorrow. That's it. We're done. Hoops. It's a big hoop show. We'll talk to you next week right here on SoCal Prep Report. Good night, everybody.
Mercy Miller had a rough game on Wednesday. I just don't see him having too bad games.
So that's why you think Notre Dame's
I
gonna win?
think because it's going to come down to who's the best guy.
I'm convinced Justin Pippen's year.
Yeah.
He's going to win.